A few years ago, I could call myself lazy 3 times before 9 a.m. without even noticing. I'd wake up, hit snooze, lazy. Stay in bed scrolling for 10 minutes, lazy. I didn't immediately jump into being productive, I was lazy. It was just a background noise in my head. A consistent stream of criticism that felt so normal that I didn't even notice it, that I didn't even question it. Now, I cannot remember the last time I used that word to describe myself. And that shift didn't happen because I became more productive, or because I suddenly started waking up at 5 a.m., or because I fixed myself in some way. It happened because I learned what that word was actually trying to tell me. And once I understood that, I could not unsee it. For most of my life, I believed everything that my inner critic said, and I genuinely thought that that voice was just keeping me accountable, keeping me from being someone who stops trying. I thought being mean to myself was how I stayed motivated. So today I'm sharing 5 specific words I've unlearned, what they were actually covering up, and what fundamentally changed when I stopped using them. Because if your inner voice has been really loud lately, if you're tired of talking to yourself like someone you can't stand, this might help. For most of my 20s, my inner dialogue sounded like a performance review from a boss who hated me. And I'm not exaggerating. Getting ready for work in the morning and picking out an outfit. You look so unprofessional, nobody's gonna take you seriously. Running 5 minutes late to something. Everyone else has their life together and you can't even show up on time. Tired on a Sunday afternoon and wanting to rest. Everyone else is being productive right now. You are wasting your life. And I genuinely believed thinking like this was normal. Like, this is just what responsible adults sounded like to keep themselves accountable. I thought everybody walked around with this voice inside of them, telling them that they weren't good enough, weren't doing enough, weren't enough in general. And maybe some people do. I know a lot of people do. I didn't know it could be different. And if you didn't know that either, here's your permission to make a change. There were 5 words in particular that I used constantly. And I want to name them because I think you might recognize yourself in some of these. Lazy, behind, too much, unmotivated, failing. Those were my greatest hits. The words I reached for anytime I wasn't performing at what I thought was an acceptable level. And if any of these just made your stomach drop a little bit, if you heard one of those and felt it in your body, you are exactly who I made this video for, because I know what it's like to carry those words around. I started questioning these words about 3 years ago. I was sitting with this feeling that I couldn't shake, this exhaustion that went deeper than just being tired. I remember asking myself the question that would change everything. Would I ever say these things to a friend? If my best friend came to me and said, "I'm struggling today," would I respond with, "Yeah, because you're lazy and unmotivated"? Would I look at someone I cared about and call them a failure? And I realized, no, never, obviously not. I would never speak to another human being that way. So why was it the only way I knew how to talk to myself? Why was cruelty the default? Now let's talk about lazy, because that ran deep for me. I didn't just start calling myself lazy one day, and it took me a long time to realize that. That word was ingrained in me from childhood. It was verbal abuse, honestly. I was taught very explicitly that I was only worthy when I was performing, achieving, being productive, being useful. Rest wasn't an option. Slowing down meant something was wrong with me. By the time I was 14, maybe younger, I had internalized it so completely that I didn't even need anyone else to say it anymore. I said it to myself. I became my own enforcer. Any moment I wasn't in constant motion, watching TV, sleeping in on a Saturday, reading, take an afternoon to do absolutely nothing, lazy. I use that word so casually, so automatically, because it's what I was taught that I was, the truth about me, or so I believed. Here's what I was actually experiencing every single time I called myself lazy. And this took me years to understand. So if you're still figuring this out, you are not behind. I was exhausted, not just tired from a long day, exhausted from pushing through without breaks for years. I was so burnt out from treating rest like something I had to earn instead of something my body needed to function. I was depressed. My body was screaming at me to slow down, to stop, to just exist for a moment without producing something. But I didn't have language for that. Nobody taught me how to say I'm burned out, or I'm overwhelmed, or I need rest. I just had lazy. This one ugly word that had been drilled into me since I was a kid. And here's the crazy part. That word let me ignore what was really happening. It let me keep pushing. Because if I was just lazy, The solution was simple: work harder, push through, stop being weak. It didn't occur to me that maybe my body shutting down wasn't a character flaw. Maybe it was information. The shift started when I began asking myself a different question. Instead of, why am I being lazy right now? I started asking, what am I actually feeling right now? What is my body trying to tell me? And usually when I got honest, the answer was tired, overwhelmed, completely tapped out, running on empty, and trying to pretend that I wasn't. Once I started naming the real thing, the actual feeling underneath my criticism, lazy stopped making sense. It didn't fit anymore. It was like putting on clothes from 10 years ago and realizing they don't fit the person that you are now. I could see it for what it was. Someone else's voice I'd carried around for years, decades even, believing it was mine. Believing it was true. Now when that old voice tries to come back, and it does, I'm not gonna pretend that it's gone forever. I notice it immediately, and I know it's not telling me the truth, and it never was. Now let's talk about the word should, because this one was sneaky in a way that others weren't, and this one is still tricky for me. Should sounded responsible. It sounded like accountability. It sounded like I was just holding myself to a standard, right? I should be further along in my career by now. I should be more motivated to work on my goals. I should have this whole healing thing figured out already. I genuinely thought that that was just being an adult, having expectations for yourself. I didn't realize it for what it actually was. Shame. Just shame wearing a productivity hat, pretending to be helpful. I remember this one specific moment so clearly. It was maybe 2 years deep into working on all this stuff. Reading books, journaling, trying to unlearn these patterns, and I was scrolling Instagram one night, just mindlessly, and I saw someone's year in review post. You know the ones. They'd launched a business, traveled to 4 countries, bought a house, hit all these massive milestones. In my immediate thought, I should have accomplished more this year. Not, wow, good for them. Not, that's cool, but we're on different paths. Just straight to, I should have done more. Within 5 minutes, and I mean this, it was fast, I was in a full spiral. I should have posted more consistently. I should have brand deals by now. I should be further along in my healing journey. I should have my life together by now. I should. And I could feel it in my chest, like the tight, panicky feeling, the sense of falling behind, of running out of time, of fundamentally not being enough. I had gotten so used to that feeling that it almost felt normal. It did feel normal. I was like, oh, this again. But here's what was different this time. And this is why I'm sharing this specific story. I actually noticed it was happening. In the moment, while it was happening, I caught it. That awareness, that's the whole game. So I closed the app, put my phone face down, and I put my hand where it felt tight and where I could feel the panic building. And I said to myself, I'm feeling behind right now. Not I am behind. Not I should be further along. Just I'm feeling this feeling. I'm noticing it. And that distinction, it changed everything. Because feelings aren't fact. Feelings are information. They're not the truth about who I am or who I should be. Then I asked myself, what do I actually need right now? Not what should I be doing? What do I need? And the answer that came up was to get off my phone. That's it. Nothing profound. Just distance from the thing that triggered me. So that's what I did. That was one of the first times I successfully stopped a spiral. Instead of riding it all the way down to the shame pit, where I'd spend the next 3 hours beating myself up. And I want to be really clear, this was not magic. It wasn't like I did it once and suddenly I healed and never spiraled again. That's not how this works. It was practice. Practice catching it a little bit earlier each time. It was naming what was actually happening instead of believing the story that my brain was spinning. The story that sounds so convincing in the moment, but falls apart when you actually look at it. No, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I never have a harsh word about myself inside my head. That would be a lie, and it would be a setup to think that you have some arbitrary finish line where everything's perfect and you're never mean to yourself again. That's just not real. But what's different now, what's fundamentally different, is I don't believe those thoughts anymore. I hear them, I notice them, and then I decide whether they're actually true or whether it's just old programming running in the background. So what's changed? 1, I know my tells now. I know the physical signs that my inner critic is getting loud. My jaw gets tight, I start moving faster, like I'm rushing through everything. I get snappy with people over small things. Those are signs that something's off, and I need to check in with myself instead of pushing through and pretending I'm fine. Now, what are yours? Because they're probably different from mine. Maybe your shoulders get tense, maybe you stop eating, maybe you get really quiet and withdrawn. Start paying attention to what your body is trying to tell you. Try to pay attention to what your body does when that critical voice gets loud. 2. I use the friend test. Would I say this exact thing to my best friend if they were struggling? The answer is always no. I would never look at someone I love and say, you're lazy and unmotivated, and you're failing. Never. So why would I say it to myself? I started practicing, and it was a practice. It felt fake at first. The same tone I would use with somebody that I actually care about. Someone whose well-being mattered to me. It felt so awkward in the beginning, like I was lying to myself or being too soft. Now, it's just how I talk to myself most of the time. Number 3, name was underneath. I've learned that usually when that mean voice pops up, when I'm being really harsh with myself, there's a feeling I'm trying to avoid. A feeling I don't want to feel. Disappointed that something didn't work out, scared that I'm not capable, overwhelmed by everything on my plate, tired in a way that rest doesn't seem to fix. Once I name the real feeling, I say it to myself or write it down, then the harsh words lose their power. They're just noise. They're just my brain trying to cover up something I didn't want to feel. But the feeling's there, whether I'm mean to myself about it or not. So I might as well just feel it. 4. I give myself permission to still be learning, to still be in process. I used to think healing meant I would eventually fix myself and never struggle again. That one day I'd arrive at this place where I had it all figured out and everything was easy and I never had hard days. That's not real. That's not how being a human works. I'm still learning. Some days are easier than others. Some days I'm really good at catching those thoughts and some days it takes me a while. That doesn't mean I'm doing it wrong. Progress is not linear and I don't need to be perfect to be kind to myself. And the real biggest thing that changed, in my opinion, I stopped treating my inner critic like it was telling me the truth, like it had accurate information about who I am and what I'm capable of. It's just an old voice that learned to be mean a long time ago because it thought that that would keep me safe. Now I hear it and I can say, hey, thanks for trying to protect me. I see what you're trying to do, but I don't need that anymore. I'm okay. We are okay. And then I move on with my day. If your inner voice has been really mean lately, like relentlessly, exhaustingly mean, I want you to know something. You're not broken. You're not failing at healing. You're not doing something wrong. That voice learned to talk to you that way for a reason. Probably a long time ago. Probably when you were too young to know it wasn't normal. And you can unlearn it. Not overnight, not in a straight line, but you can. It takes time and it's messy. And some days you'll backslide and think you haven't made any progress at all. But you can learn to be a different way. I am proof of that. And if I can do it, I promise you can too. You don't have to figure this out right now. You don't need to be perfect at self-compassion tomorrow. You don't need to never be mean to yourself. You just need to start noticing when it's happening. Just notice it and ask yourself, is this true? Is this voice telling me something accurate or is it just loud? That's where it starts. The awareness. That's where it started for me. Now, if this resonated with you, if any part of this landed, drop a black heart emoji in the comment and let me know which harsh word hit hardest. Was it lazy, behind, too much, unmotivated, or failing? Or maybe it's a different word entirely. I read every single comment and I would genuinely love to know what landed for you, what you're working on unlearning. And if you want more content like this, more honest conversation about the messy middle of healing, subscribe. I make videos for healing hot messes who are tired of being mean to themselves. Thanks for being here. It really means a lot.